we'll go to public comment, and then we'll go back to recognition of the outgoing members. So we have several that signed up. We have Jackie. Is that you?
That's
okay.
me. Plus
Jackie
one.
Ball.
I hope it's okay.
And do you need a hand there? Or?
I am.
Hey, I'm.
If he'll let you know, it's part of the job. Thank you. I won't take up much of your time. Okay. I won't take up much of your time. I've communicated with a few of you privately, but my name is Jackie Ball. I have a son named Keeson Lee. He's hard of hearing. He attended Schools for the Deaf for 2 years at the preschool and just had wonderful language development there. And he has been in mainstream school for 2 years now. So he's in first grade. And yes, I know I'm standing before the board telling you my son is skipping school this morning, but I thought it would be really important if he gets over his shyness for you guys to actually hear him speak, because for him, he has 2 little devices that go on his head. He has no barriers to communication because he's done exclusively spoken language from a young age. This child who was deaf has no barriers whatsoever to communicating with his peers, participating in school. He does extremely well in reading, pretty good in math. We're working on that. And I think that Schools for the Deaf has helped him flourish, and I wanted to kind of present that to you. I know some of you are headed out. But I actually have a little handout, if you guys wouldn't mind. I can pass it around.
Okay, will you please? Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. I apologize. The last ones don't have a nice cover page, so pick whichever one you like. It summarizes just real briefly the things that are necessary for a child to obtain speech and be on pace with their hearing peers by grade 3, which we know is very important, the grade 3 literacy levels. They need 10 hours of spoken language a day. That means they need to be fitted with hearing devices at age preferably younger than a year, and they need extensive, sometimes LSL techniques to be able to learn to hear, to tune in to what people are saying to them, and to process that. If a child does not receive information from that critical window from 0 to 3 years of age, they will never learn to properly hear and to process words as speech. And again, this is just a technique that has really benefited us. I know there are some parents who choose to remain in the deaf community with their children, and I fully support that choice, because the best language for a child to learn is the language used in the home, whether that's ASL or spoken English. I am all about parental choice. So I just wanted to kind of present that information to you. You'll probably be hearing from us more in the future, because we have a group of parents who's really kind of mobilized lately and has noticed a few issues with the spoken language programs at Schools for the Deaf. And so you will be hearing from us in the future. But I wanted to present this research to you so you could just kind of read it, kind of become familiar with spoken language techniques, and realize that as parents, we're just so grateful from the support we've had from you and Schools for the Deaf in the past. My son has no barriers, so thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
You're so good. You. I know.
Thank you, Board Member Nielsen. You do that very well. It's that military training, I can tell. Okay, next we'll have Jaylyn Ingberg, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong on pronouncing your name.
It's Jelaine, but that's okay. I'm used to nobody saying my name correctly, and that's fine. I currently work for Alpine School District, and we are one of the largest school districts in Utah. I have worked in this district for over 30 years, 27 of which I have been employed as a teacher of the blind and visually impaired, a TVI. And I am dual certified as an orientation and mobility instructor. Today I want to talk about some concerns I have about the new law where the Utah School for the Deaf and Blind wants to provide free services to all school districts. They've offered that. And the potential problems that could arise from that. One thing, a lot of teachers that have worked in school districts have been calling me and emailing me and sending me letters and notes. One of the things I'm worried about is that there's already a shortage of teachers of the blind and visually impaired in Utah. And one of the concerns I have is that many teachers that are currently working in school districts will not choose to continue to work for USDB as teachers of the blind and visually impaired. One, like me, because of retirement. I need to retire in the district I work in to get the benefits that I have. And I'm not willing to change that, even though I'm passionate about serving students who are blind and visually impaired. And there are at least 10 other teachers throughout the state that have said the same thing to me and have said the same things. So I needed you guys to be aware that there could be a shortage of teachers of the blind and visually impaired in the state of Utah. I also would like you to know that sometimes when the Utah School for the Blind presents to you, they present things that might not represent the teachers in the school districts that are working with the blind and visually impaired, that sometimes their numbers represent us, but not our needs. And that we would love to have somebody talk to any of the teachers of the blind and visually impaired working for school districts and get input from us as well. Over the years, there have been some problems that we've needed to work. Alpine School District currently does not get any Braille from the School for the Blind. We don't use USIMAC. Not saying that we won't, just that because of problems in the past, we have provided our own Braille to our students. So as I come up here, I just wanted you to know I am passionate about this, and I'm worried that my students won't have qualified teachers if this continues to happen. Thank you.
Next, we'll have Vince Newmeyer.
Good morning, board members. My dog has a problem. My dog has a problem that was manifest a number of weeks ago, when our clocks changed and things suddenly happened a little bit differently than he is used to. In other words, he would observe, apparently, the sun position in the sky and the lighting, and at a certain time, it was time for dinner. And when our clocks changed, he didn't realize that this arbitrary, to a degree, clock on the wall had something to do with his getting food at a certain time, and he's been bugging me ever since then at a wrong time. Well, what does that have to do with what we're talking about here in education and so forth? See, my dog was actually scientifically aware at a certain level. He observed things, he made assumptions, he made hypotheses, and he drew from those things conclusions, and he made predictions. And for a long time, these predictions were correct, and then they changed. Well, what is happening today in science, I'm sad to say, that as we teach it in the schools, is that there's a certain element of arbitrary and data that is not necessarily connected to observable, measurable science. It's more related to a philosophy, even a dogma. I was really shocked a little while ago when I was on the Science Standards Review Committee, and I heard an educator say that there is no evidence challenging Darwinian evolution. I was shocked. It's all over the place, really. But our educators aren't even aware of some of the fundamental problems with the science that they teach. They teach it as absolute truth. And though there are lines of evidence that will go in line with the Darwinian evolution, there are certainly evidence that is not, and it's not being taught. This is what's happening in the Next Generation Science Standards. It's also what's happening in what I've seen of the science standards, which will be coming before you shortly. Now, in order to help you understand a few of the challenges, not too long ago, in fact in October of this year, a very well-known geneticist, internationally known geneticist, gave a talk before the National Institutes of Health, and that has been recorded. You can go and see this on the website, sciencefreedom.org, and you can see some of the evidence. I would love to share with you more, but my time is up. Thank you so much for the few minutes I had.
Okay, thank you. Next, we'll have Kat Martinez.
Hi, my name's Kat Martinez. I'm an early childhood educator, and I have 3 children in the Murray School District. I'm here today to ask the school board to, with our new senators and our new representatives this coming term, to eliminate the way we grade schools. I live in Murray, so our school scores really high. We have a pretty high income in our area. We don't have very many English language learners, who it's their second language. We have a PTA surplus fund. We always have extra money. We fundraise really well. But I have friends who teach at a lot of Title I schools. They're getting dance in their schools. They're getting art in their schools, but they're having really low grades due to a lot of English being a second language for many of their children. They don't have a lot of parents volunteering in the classrooms because they can't take the time off work. So I just think it's really an inaccurate way to score schools. I think it's detrimental to the way that we look at schools and provide resources to them. So I would really like the board to look at that in this upcoming session. Thank you.
Thank you. This concludes our public participation side. We don't have anyone else.